you too.
Follow us on Instagram.
Better follow me.
At Philly Jamz 95.3 FM.
And I am your boy Eli Isabel in the building. What's happening, Shay? What's up, Rebirth? What is going on? Philly Jamz 95.3. The Rebirth is in the building.
Yes, we are.
It is 7 o'clock. It is that real happy hour. We up in here. What's up? What's up, homie?
Welcome back, man.
I feel like
Can
you've
you
been saying
not
a
leave
lot.
me anymore? I know.
I'm not going anywhere again until April. The end of April.
Oh, well, I'm gonna be gone too.
Well, I guess we gonna have to. The show gonna have to do it.
Oh,
run itself.
wow. Okay.
We got to do it remote.
Wow. Okay.
Where you
okay.
going?
I have a retreat in Jamaica that I'm doing.
Work.
Word. A woman's retreat. Yes.
I gotta get a job with me. There.
This is rebirth, baby. This is rebirth.
Oh, pardon.
Welcome to the rebirth, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Come on, hit me in the chat. How you doing?
She said, "Hit me in the
today?
chest."
Hit me in the chat. In the
Oh,
chat,
oh.
not in my chest.
I thought you said,
My
"Hit me
Lord.
in the chest." My bad.
Give us a call. Let us know how you doing. How was your weekend? The number is 267-908-3166. Again, that's 267-908-3166. You are listening to The Rebirth on Philly Jamz 95.3.
Yes. What's up?
What's up, man?
How was your weekend?
It was relaxing.
Yeah.
It was relaxing. Yeah, I had to think about it. I didn't do too much, just kind of chilled
That's
over
a
the
good
weekend,
thing.
but it went by too quick.
Man,
I don't get it.
I laid down Friday and woke up. It was Monday.
Right.
like, what in
Literally.
the-
That's
what in the
exactly, yeah. That's exactly
going
what's
on around
happening.
these parts.
Exactly.
Brother can't
yeah.
even get a good nap in. He's trying to go back to work. But yeah, it was good, man. It was fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something that I did do.
What was that?
Nothing. My favorite pastime.
Okay.
My favorite pastime. I did nothing, man, and it was awesome for the most part. I did go to a high school basketball game Saturday night. I had
okay.
to. The kids cheered, so I had to be in the building. But that's all.
Who
I
did
pretty
y'all
much did.
play?
We played Delaware Military Academy, and once again, we can't beat them in football. We can't beat them in basketball. Good Lord. Gave us a business.
Oh, wow. We actually played them Friday night, and we beat them.
Oh.
Yeah. We played on Friday night.
What you trying to say?
Both JV and varsity both beat them.
What are you trying to
So,
say?
nothing. I'm
I
just
thought
saying.
y'all wanted some smoke. I could set that up
It's all good.
at Glasgow Park. Set it up at Glasgow Park. Holla at your boy.
All right. So it's Black History Month.
Yes.
It is Black History Month, and yeah, we
All
got
that.
we got 28 whole days.
Woo. And look, and 7 of them gone.
Right, exactly. So for our little Black History spotlight, and I think,
Yes.
for the rebirth, I think this is something that we need to do, period. It doesn't have to be Black History Month for us to,
Agreed.
Talk about Black history. But tonight, I wanted to shed some light on, I don't know if you guys knew that Delaware had refused to ratify the 13th Amendment.
Wow.
Yeah, it took them 36 years
Wow.
later to ratify the 13th Amendment. And it wasn't just Delaware. So, as the rest of the country acted to abolish slavery by ratifying the 13th Amendment, states such as Delaware, Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
and territory of Oklahoma refused to ratify it. So Delaware's General Assembly
Wow.
refused to ratify the 13th Amendment, calling it an illegal extension of federal power over state. So Delaware rejected several previous proposals to abolish slavery, including Lincoln's 1861 proposal to compensate Delaware slaveholders using federal funds if they would free the black people they held in bondage.
Wow.
So, just to kind of make a long story short here, not only did Delaware's legislature reject initial ratification of the 13th Amendment, but it also rejected the 14th Amendment of 1868 and the 15th Amendment of 1870,
They're rejecting everything.
which extended civil rights and voting privileges, respectively, to black people, including the formal enslaved. Finally, on February 12th, which will be next Sunday?
6 days from now. What's
Saturday?
that? Sunday.
Something like that?
Sunday.
Okay. February
No,
12th.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So Saturday, February 12th, 1901, Delaware ratified the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery, and that came 30 years after the rest of the nation. Did you know that?
Nope. But I'm gonna tell you why I'm not surprised. I don't think a lot of people realize when you start
Mm-hmm.
talking about this country and the South, Delaware is below the Mason-Dixon line.
Mm.
So technically, Delaware is considered the South.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. It's below the Mason-Dixon line. So that what you just read to me, I am not surprised. And we know how the South wanted to hold on to that slavery for as long and as hard as
Yeah.
they could.
Exactly.
So, that's probably why the people down in Southern Delaware sound like they're from Alabama. Partially. Shout out to Southern Delaware. But however, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at that at all. That's
That's crazy.
That's crazy and
Mhm.
disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So, but
Thank you for that down.
there was a lot the downer. There was a lot of history here in Delaware that has gone unspoken. Just
Wow.
like what Rodney Square, that's where they were trading slaves there, right? Is that correct?
And they came in.
Yeah. Look. I'm asking Tasha. She's shaking her head, yes, but then she's like, I don't know.
And they came in on Old Newcastle Battery Park. The slaves were brought in through that water right there. I don't know about the separation day part, but I do know that slaves were, when they came over here on those slave ships, that they were docked there in Old Newcastle at that
Wow.
Battery Park.
That's your favorite place to go and reflect.
Jesus Christ. Not anymore.
Not even
No.
realizing you over there
I mean, I
reflecting on
knew
how
that,
you got
but-
here. Shout out to Jen Marshall.
Hey, Jen.
Jen said it's the first state going south. That's why you had to make it to Pennsylvania.
Okay, look at Jen. You ain't did number watch
Look
Harriet.
at her trying
You
to
just
act
watch
like
Harriet.
she
Don't try to act like-
intelligent.
I know. Go ahead, girl. Thank you, Jen.
Shout
that
out to
information.
Jen. That's what's up. You got anything for Black History?
Yes. I'm gonna give you a good one right here.
Okay.
I'm gonna guarantee you that nobody in the studio knew this. I'm not gonna say the world, but however, the first black woman that was drafted into the NBA.
Okay.
Let me repeat that. There was one black woman who's been drafted into one woman that's been drafted into the NBA, and she was black. Her name is Lucy Harris, and she's actually the subject of a documentary that's gonna be produced by I think Shaquille O'Neal is involved in it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But she was drafted back in she just passed away at 66. But she was drafted by the New Orleans. Where's my information? I'm sorry, y'all.
You gotta come together. Come
Oh,
on
the New
now.
Orleans Jazz in the 7th round of the 1977 NBA draft. I couldn't see the writing, Shay. I'm sorry. She was drafted by the New Orleans Jazz in the 7th round of the 1977 draft, and she's from Mentor, Mississippi. So shout out to Miss Lucy Harris, and rest in peace, by the way.
That's a mouthful.
She just passed away.
Yeah,
Yes.
Lucy
So she was a baller
Harris.
that the NBA wanted
Yeah.
her.
That's what's up.
That's crazy. So who knew
Wow.
that? Who knew about Miss Harris?
I didn't know about that.
All right, I got you. Every week I'm gonna give you something you didn't know.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Shout out to Abdul Chase. He said Tasha don't know that.
She's trying to act like she did.
From the Toxic Boys.
She said that's my auntie. That's your Aunt Lucille. There it is.
It's all good. Once again, guys, welcome to the Rebirth. Tonight, we have a great show coming to you. But before we get to the show, we're going to go to Right Here, Right Now.
Yes. So listen. So right here, right now, I have it's something we were discussing. You know, I always have these conversations at work, and this is something we were discussing. So, which, in your opinion, is more frowned upon? And I'll tell you what the general consensus at work was. You know, a woman meeting a guy with 3 kids by 3 different women, or a man meeting a woman with 3 kids by 3 different dudes. Which one do you think is more frowned upon?
I think what's more frowned upon is the woman having more than one baby daddy.
Okay, and you think that because of why? I mean, I want your opinion on why you think that.
I think that's because that's society. That's just how, you know, society looks at it. I don't think it's right.
Right.
But I think it's more accepted that a man has, you know, a bunch of baby mamas than it is for a woman to have a bunch of baby daddies.
Okay. So one of the things we talked about was most of the time, so the women were in the room were saying that when women are out having babies with these men, sometimes they're under the impression that this is going to be a long-lasting relationship. This is somebody you're going to be with. And so, you know, we had a baby. I expect us to be together. Where men are just typically sometimes more sloppy, and they're just out here kind of spreading the seed. So in their mind, it looks worse on the man because you're just out here spreading it around. As opposed to a woman, you're probably not with either one of them baby mamas. At least, you know, the woman is trying to be with somebody, where a man is kind of spreading it around. So I kind of saw that point. I also think though, too, a man can definitely get into a relationship easier if he has 3 kids or 3 baby mamas, as opposed to, you know, a woman with 3 kids with 3 different dudes. Because the average guy is probably not going to be willing to deal with that level of potential drama. That's 3 dudes. So you can count out at least 2 of them. One of them is going to be around and involved, so you're going to have to deal with him.
Right.
So who, you know, I guess it goes both ways, but I definitely wouldn't want to deal with a woman with 3 baby daddies.
Yeah.
That's too much.
It's a lot. I also think, too, another thing that comes into play is the age of the kids, right?
Okay.
So if they're adults now or about to be adults, then that might help out in a situation as to if you want to be involved with the person or not. It's a big difference when you have 3. I mean, you know, when you have kids that are, you know,
12 and under.
Yeah. You know, they're still babies, but if your child is old enough where they can take care of themselves and they're about to be out the house and graduate, then that's a different story.
Agreed, because 9 times out of 10, if they're 18, 19, 15, you probably hadn't been with that dude, any of them baby dads, in a long time. So it's less of an issue, and, you know, yeah, I guess you'll get a better shot at it that way. But that's still a lot to. I can imagine having 3 baby mamas to deal with. That's 3 different sets of problems. That's 3 different sets of personalities. That's 3 people that your money is divided by. Like, that's a lot. Like, these dudes out here, if you're going to be involved in that kind of father, that's a lot. Emotionally, how do you give it 3 separate households?
Yeah, it is a lot.
I look at it that way, too. Like, how do you give it 3 separate households if you're involved? Like,
right.
Somebody's going to go missing something that they need from you.
Oh, I thought you meant somebody was going to go missing.
No.
Like, missing. I'm like, well.
No, this is not a BET movie. And no one's trying to kill anyone. Abdul Chase says society will say women, but and they will, but I just think I don't know. I think a man, to me, that shows lack of responsibility. That's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, I think in both situations, whether it's the woman or the man, it is definitely lack of responsibility, you know? And that's a tough, I mean.
She's out here squirting everything.
You know what? Moving on. That's your right here, right now?
That's my right here, right now.
Okay. All right.
That one good enough for you, Tosh?
we
Tosh, you got 3 baby daddies? All right, well then, if you don't apply, let it fly. I know Shay do.
Shay do what?
Shay do not.
I was
do
getting
not.
ready to say, no
I know
Shay
Shay
don't.
do not have 3 baby daddies.
Absolutely not.
I meant to say do not. You know what I'm saying.
The devil is a lie. Don't you put that out there in the atmosphere.
Well, let me stop, because you know when I put it out there, you know what happens, Shay, when I put it out there.
Well, ain't no more babies coming out of here anyway.
All right, let's test my theory. May Shay have 3 more kids by 3 different dudes. Let's see the power of my words.
You done lost your mind. Anyway, guys, tonight our topic is we're going to be talking about dealing with rejection and abandonment. You ever felt rejected, Eli?
Woo, yes, I have several
You
times. Yes.
Okay.
We
All
have
right,
you?
We gonna get
I
into
know
it.
you be wanting me to spill my whole.
Have I felt rejected? You know what? I think I'm gonna go more towards the abandonment
Okay.
part of it. That came up for me in my life, you know. But when we talk about and sometimes rejection and abandonment is hand in hand.
Yep.
It comes together, right?
Mhm.
So when we're talking about rejection and what that looks like, what it feels like, you know, like when you felt rejected, what did that feel like for you?
Man, it's definitely a blow to the ego. If you're and if you're pursuing someone and they're just like really not having it, and then so that's one thing, and then to find out this, oh, she think you whack. What's the worst thing you could be called in the 90s? Whack. So that's a different level of rejection right there. Thank God there was no social media.
Okay. So you're thinking about rejection so far as when trying to talk to girls, females, and
Yeah, I mean,
relationships?
in
Okay.
other instances, but right now, yeah, I'm speaking to that
Okay.
particular aspect
Okay.
of rejection. Yes,
All right. Okay.
it hurts.
So, just so we know what the definition is, right? Rejection is dismissing or refocusing. Dismissing or refusing of a proposal, idea, etc., or the act of pushing someone or something away. That is rejection. The act of pushing someone away or something away.
Right.
Right? And then when we look at the word abandonment is the act or instance of leaving a person or thing permanently and completely.
Gotcha.
So see,
Been there.
the difference there,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So for you, where do you think rejection or abandonment starts?
The rejection part, and again, it could be relationships or you applying for a job and not. I think just not being successful in the pursuit of something, something that you really want. Because sometimes we just go after stuff that you might apply for a job that you really don't want. So if they don't want you, then you don't really care. You might just see a pretty girl and let me shoot my shot, but it's nothing. But if it's something that you are really pursuing and you really want for yourself, or you want to be a part of, whether it be an organization or whatever, then I think that's where rejection can really affect your psyche and your confidence and your ability to move forward and try again. So it's definitely, and I'm not saying it's deeper for men than women, but I just know that, and most men will never admit this, but the ego that little thing is fragile.
Right.
And the minute it gets like nicked,
Absolutely.
it don't even gotta get just like beat down. If it gets nicked, like that can really change our psyche and how we deal with things, how people, places, and things.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think rejection is something that we should be able to at least talk to our kids about or teach them how to deal with rejection? Because I think we did a show. I'm sure this was you, because only you would say something silly like this. I don't know, but or either I saw it on a comedy show, but the same, right? But we don't. Not our generation. We don't really tell the truth when it comes down to certain things with the kids, right?
Right.
Matter of fact, it was Dion Cole. He said, "Not every child's picture belong on the refrigerator." Right?
Well, damn.
Not every child's picture belong on a refrigerator, right? So, I know that's tough. But even when it comes down to like games, basketball games, football games, and stuff like that, right? Your kid sucked. you know your kid didn't do,
Ooh.
you know. But we're not going to tell them that, right? We're going to go out there and say, you did your best and you did this and da-da-da, and you know that your kid need to be benched. You know that, right? But
Right.
we're not going to say that, right? But does that feed, does that not help them be able to understand what rejection is? Because at some point, we're all going to experience that. So how do you deal with that?
Do we? So here's the question on top of your question. Do we?
You can't do that.
Okay, well, my piggyback. So let me get this out. You know, I've been forgot.
Right.
Do we expose our kids to their rejection early? Like, I think it's a fragile thing. Do we off the top when you're 5, 6, when you're getting a participation trophy and you're not that good, but that everybody gets a trophy? Do I say, no, you suck, you do not get this trophy? Like, how? I think it's a thing you have to really be cognizant of when and how you do it, because you don't want to destroy them too early, but you do want them to be prepared to receive rejection. And I think a lot of us aren't prepared for that. Because like you said, everybody has their picture on the refrigerator. Everybody's calling you cute when you're little, even though you got that big ass block head.
Right.
And the big ass nostrils. You got a grown man face and you 4.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You built like a small adult.
Okay.
And people, okay, I'm sorry. And people are telling you that you're, oh, he's so cute. Oh, you know, but you know what I hear them wish say? Oh, bless his heart.
Right.
But how soon? Like I said, it's a thing where you have to. I'm laughing at myself. It's a thing where you have to like really think about when and how you do that.
Yeah.
To prepare them.
Yeah. And sometimes rejection is kind of introduced to us when we're not expecting it, and usually that would come from one of our parents, right? You might feel the rejection or even the abandonment from a parent, right? So this is where it will start in a young, as a child,
right?
And growing up with that feeling of rejection or abandonment, that tends to show up later on in life. So we definitely going to explore this a little bit further. Again, guys, you are listening to The Rebirth. If you have a comment or question, please give us a call at 267-908-3166. Reladelic says you shouldn't have no problem expressing yourself to your kids about what to expect in this cold world we live in.
And she's right. I'm sorry, no disrespect. He is correct. It's just, when do you do this? That's my question. I think that's a tricky part. Because I guess receiving rejection later, I think it hurts more when you are kind of aware of the world and then you're aware of people not really tuned into what you have going on, whether it be career, whether it be with women, whether it be with men, whatever you have going on.
Right.
That rejection, the later you start to accept it or, be cognizant of it, I think that can do damage. But the earlier that you are made aware of this and made to feel like, how most of the people in the world feel, like, what does that do to you? So where's that middle ground with that?
Right.
I agree with Reladelic. I think you have to, but when is the question?
Yeah. So, there's people that are dealing with rejection and abandonment issues and don't know that they're dealing with rejection and abandonment issues.
Been there.
Right? Okay. So when did you know? How did you find out that you was dealing with?
I think when I realized I was trying to turn a H into a H, a H into a housewife.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay. I know I asked.
And this was you shouldn't. Yeah, well, I'm gonna give it to you raw. You trying to you see something for somebody who don't see it for themselves.
Right.
And they are just not. They don't want that. At least they don't want it at that point in time. And if you can't, you're trying to let them know how great they are and what you see for them, and they can't do it. They want to be out here doing A, B, C, and D, and you just kind of want them to do A, B with you. And I mean, that's a form of rejection. So yeah, and I'm referencing these things to relationships because from a career point of view, I've never really went after a job that I didn't get. And that may sound braggadocious, but I'm not bragging. I'm just saying. So from a career perspective, that's not anything that's really ever affected me per se. So I think all of my rejections come from personal relationships.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, got you.
Whether it be, girls or family or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So we have a couple of things that we took some notes on, and I think the first thing is understanding why the rejection hurts so much, right? So if I'm feeling rejected, or if I've gotten somebody rejected me, or a job, or whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
why does that bother me so much? Why does it hurt so much?
Talk
Right.
about it.
So the first thing is to remember that there is a reason that rejection does sting. And it's not because you're weak, or it's too sensitive. There is something that it is triggering in that moment. So it's important that we kind of dig a little bit deeper when we have those feelings. Um, we have a need to connect as humans. You know, we rely on being in groups and connected to people to survive. That's just part of us. So when somebody rejects us, there's a very primal piece to it, which is that it goes against everything that we feel, that we may need for survival. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of a time where I felt rejected. Yeah, can't think of it.
Damn.
I can't think of it right now.
How great has your life
No,
been?
no, no, no. I just cannot think of it right now. And if anything was to come now, I can speak more on the abandonment part.
Oh, we'll speak to it.
I'm not ready to speak to that yet. When we get on abandonment, I will. We're on rejection.
So what about like just in like homegirl relationships? You never had a situation where this is your friend, you thinking this is what you guys are, and then there's been like an element of, because you know how some women they're all in with you, and then they get in that relationship and they forget about their people. I think I guess some dudes do that, but I think women do that a lot, right? Do you never had a girlfriend that was, oh, this is my girl Shay, we doing A, B, C, and D, and now she's met John, and you don't exist no more. And like there's a loss of that relationship because of her new situation. That's never happened.
Right.
I'm gonna give you an example.
No, that's a good example. But for me, that doesn't bother me. Now, I think that's probably happened with, somebody might feel that way about me. That, oh, you're in something new and you don't have time for me anymore, right? So I think that
Is that the case?
that comes
Did you get
more
new?
so. No, I didn't get new. You're so silly.
No, that's so different.
I
You might
didn't
not
get
realize it.
new, but I think that it depends on what type of people that you're dealing with as well, right? So I think for me is being able to understand that, okay, just because this person has a new friend or in a new relationship does not mean that they love or care for me any less, right? So there's not a feeling of rejection there. Again, maybe feelings of abandonment might come up for, some people, or even me in a situation that's, connected to that, but not rejected. I don't feel rejected. It would be more like, oh, okay, cool. Like you just abandoned what we had and you just went on, So I think for me, I relate more to the abandonment part, and I know where that stems from me, but the rejection part, no, I cannot think of a time where I felt rejected. Right? It's not coming to me at this point. But if it does, I will definitely.
Well,
say
let me
more
say
about
this
it.
because I know you fairly well. I like to think I do. I've been knowing you since 2008, maybe 9. And I know how many people lean on you. And I've said this to you before, like you are always giving of yourself, and so who's pouring into you? So because of that, I can see how somebody can feel rejected by you, because if you now have like your current situation, you now have a whole new situation, and so there might be a little less time for all of the people that you used to feed. So I could see how somebody can maybe take that, feel that way about you in reference to, you know what I'm saying? Because you feed so many people, and then you're introducing something new in your life, so it's a little less time. Especially if you're prioritizing a new situation, there's a little less time for all of that. So I can see how somebody can feel maybe that way about you, even though you are like the emotional Tupac. You don't, you don't feel rejected. It's cool.
No,
But I know that you maybe create that in other people, not on purposely.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely not on purposely. And of course, I would want the person or persons in my life to actually, bring that to my attention. If they feel a certain type of way, let's have a conversation. We're adults, so that's important. Yeah, but yeah, definitely the abandonment piece. Like I said, I'll definitely talk more on that. So the second thing is to take a step back and practice some self care. Of course, we're big pushers on practicing self care, but self care is really important in these moments. Exercising, running, meditating, doing yoga, stuff like that. It really helps with getting stuck in that emotional rut of emotional thinking. Because sometimes, our brain is the most powerful thing, and it will take something that was small and then make it into a whole lifetime movie before it's over with, So,
Yes, Lord.
self-care, anything that makes you feel good and helps you calm down, would be very helpful when you are being, triggered, or you feel like you feel rejected or something like that. What you do for self-care?
I used to run, but the hip ain't what it used to be. So they got a brother on the bike now. I'm out here riding bikes and doing squats, trying to get my life together. But something that I tell you something I used to do that wasn't self-care, but in my mind is something that I thought help me work through things. I used to just get my drink on. So I thank God for and I've never been an alcoholic, but I feel like, well, let me just pour a little this bourbon right here because I'm going through this moment.
Okay.
So now that has been replaced with exercising and it helps me too, talking to my boys.
Okay.
Like sometimes I just need that honest feedback. I mean, we encourage at this point in our lives. We used to if we're BSing, we're all in. Yeah, do that. But now as we've matured, it's kind of like you heard it like, nah, that's not a good idea.
Right.
Or maybe you should look at it this way. And I think we give different perspectives to all of our issues. And where before we all thought the same, we all moved the same because we were all on the same ish. So thank God for growth and just my friends telling me like, yo, I wouldn't do that. Or yo, yeah, that's a good move. Do that.
Right.
So that's a part of my self-care, my little male village.
Okay.
And I call you sometimes when I just say, Demo, crazy.
Yep. Yep, you definitely do. And vice versa. So, Yeah. So number 3 would be taking some time to process your emotions. And I really think that's important before you do anything. We have this little technique that we use in therapy called stop, think, and do. And you only take a couple seconds to use it, right? We usually use this when we're dealing with kids that has issues with impulse, right? That's where I first learned it when I worked with kids. But I actually use this with my adults as well as just with myself, period, instead of making an emotional decision or
Stop,
acting
listen,
out.
do.
Right. Stop, think, and do.
Okay. Oh, stop.
Yeah. You have a couple seconds. If something is said to you or someone triggered you, you have a couple seconds just to stop. Stop what you're doing. Stop, stop. Think about what it is that you are about to do and what that consequence may look like if you were to do it.
Right.
And in that second, change what it was that you was about to do and do something different that's going to be more positive, even if it's just not lashing out and walking away. You know what I'm saying? And you only have a couple seconds to do that, right? So if I'm triggered about something, if I'm dealing with some issues of abandonment and rejection and you don't know about it and you say something, instead of me just popping off and going off on you, right? And what that consequence is going to look like is that could interfere with our friendship. We might not be on this show together. We might not be chilling together. I'm just, just in general, right?
I know.
But if I know what that outcome could look like, then I'm going to change what it was that I was about to do or say and just give myself time to process that, right? So, stop, think, and do. It's just something that's really quick that you can practice and make a part of your everyday. And that doesn't even have to be an exchange with someone. That could just be period, throughout the day. If you're about to do something, if you're about to make a choice or decision that you are not sure about or it's out of emotions, then stop, think, and do. Give yourself time to process your emotions. Write it down, walk away from it. See if you still feel the same way, especially when it comes down to texting, because, a lot of people get in trouble with texting. they will just go off on a text and then hit send. And an hour later, you're like, oh, man, I shouldn't have done that. Or maybe seconds after you hit send.
Right.
Right? So you want to kind of give yourself that time to just calm down and see if you still feel the same way. And if you need to get it out, then put it in a text and don't send it. Or send it to send it to a accountability partner, a friend or somebody. That
See how it looks when it's being read.
Right, exactly.
And that's the thing with texting, too. It's tricky because you can mean it. They can take it in a completely different way than you mean it. So that's always tricky. So just FYI.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know what the tone is of the person. And then, who was that? The typo police on your phones, they be jacking some stuff up because I've said things and my friends been like, you might want to reread what you just sent me.
Yeah.
So it really be jacking some things up. Okay, the next one is practice self-affirmations. Do you do affirmations?
I have not. But you know what I've done? I've shared affirmations with other people. I don't necessarily do it for me. However, I've done. Can we go back to what you were saying about I guess like dealing with your emotions? And one thing about I think I'm gonna speak for me, but I think I can speak for most men too. I think the thing too with just sitting down and really sitting in your emotions, I think for a lot of us it makes us feel kind of weak. You know, and maybe I'm just speaking for me. Like, so I think that's why men, a lot of times, that's why we stray away from our emotions and how we really feel, which causes all kind of other problems in our relationships with our children, because we don't know how to express that to people. But for a lot of men, sitting in your emotions and dealing with that, I think it makes you feel, for some men, it's a form of weakness. So we kind of stay away from that.
And see, I appreciate you sharing that because I think that is the thing that, the message that I've been trying to get out to, parents that are raising young Black boys.
Right.
Because that shouldn't even be, that shouldn't be a feeling for you. You know what I'm saying? It's there because you were told not to feel a certain way.
Right. Absolutely.
When something was to happen. And that shouldn't even be there because sitting in your emotions and processing it is not a sign of weakness at all. It's actually a sign of strength.
Right.
To be able to, identify what it is that you're feeling and to be able to express it in a healthy manner.
Absolutely.
And that goes back into how you are raised, back into your childhood.
And that goes also if you're being raised by a single mom and you have other women in your life and you're crying, what do you hear your whole life? Stop crying. Stop acting like a girl. And so then you learn to suppress that emotion of hurt or pain, which definitely doesn't serve you going forward. Like how do you and then you teach your kids the same thing. Especially your sons. So it's just a generational thing that, and I'm wondering if it's in every community. I know it's definitely in our community.
Right.
We really don't teach our children, our sons it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to cry.
Yeah.
And then once you grow up and you start to date or whatever, those girls have the same mentality about a man crying and being weak too. So you're stuck. No girl wants a dude that's emotional or in his feelings. But they don't want a dude that's going to hold in his anger and beat them up because he's upset either. Right. So you're kind of like in a weird place if you don't have that self-awareness for yourself.
Absolutely.
So it's a weird place for a man to be.
Yeah. And I think since you brought that up too, women, when we say and we want our men to be able to talk to us and to express what they're feeling, well, you have to be able to receive what comes out. Like you have to make that space available. Absolutely. And they have to feel safe. Nobody's going to talk to you if they're not safe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why would I open up on that type of level if I feel you're going to throw this back in my face or laugh at me later or share it with your girlfriend? You know?
Right.
So you have to make that space available, and also it needs to be a safe space for your partner to come to you and really express that level of vulnerability. It's so important.
Absolutely.
It's really important.
Deep Thought, what up? Hey, Pam. Felicia Smith. Patrick Allen, what up, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all, man.
So the next one is spending time with people that you love, right? Be with people that want to be with you, that want to be in your circle, that wants to love on you. Oftentimes we feel rejected because we're not in the right crowd of people.
Right.
We're around people that is not really looking out for our best interests, right? So we're trying to fit into something that really was not made for us to be in.
Right.
And we have this feeling of rejection. Be around people that support you and love you, that want to see you win.
So if you've never had that, how do you know what you're looking for? There's some people there's some people out here that have never been supported. You know, especially I can speak to, again, I'll go back to our community, the whole crabs in the barrel mentality. No one celebrates you or pushes you when you're doing well. Again, and I always say this, post something positive on social media, you get 10 likes. Post something about your baby mama or your baby daddy, and you got 300 people comment on it.
Right.
So you have to, again, you do have to surround yourself with people who are going to be positive and push you to be better. But sometimes we're those people.
Yeah. So I will hope and pray that everybody has at least one person in their life that they feel connected to, even if it's just that one person. When you're feeling like this, and again, I'm speaking of, when you're dealing with rejection, then reach out to that one person that you do feel connected to. If it's not a person, then what is it that makes you feel connected? What is it that brings out, the love and the confidence in you? What is it? Is it something that you do, something that you listen to, something that you read? Whatever that thing is, then that is what you will need to connect to.
Agree.
You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? So again, I will hope that at least we all have one person. Many of us is blessed to have more than one. But if it's just one, that's all you need.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
But you can't wear that one person out and they helping you and you don't ever listen.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't do that.
Yeah. So another thing we do is we tend to beat up on ourselves. So we want to remember to be kind to ourselves. We beat ourselves up over things that might have led to us being rejected. Right? So one of the things that a lot of people do when they get rejected is to be unkind to themselves. And they start coming up with all kinds of ideals that might be wrong with them. Come on, and I know we've all have had someone in our lives that is constantly talking about all the things that are wrong with them.
Absolutely, all the time.
Nothing
the time. Good ever.
It's always, it's just like,
ever.
Wow, really? Is this what we gonna do? Right. Yeah. Oh, that's a nice dress. Oh, this old thing, I got it from, I didn't ask you where you got it. It's a nice dress. Just say thank you. I haven't had, now I'm going to say this, but I haven't, because I just thought about something. My lovely significant other will always tell me how beautiful I am. Always say how beautiful I am. Bless his heart.
What up, Shan?
There's times where I'm like exhausted. So if we're FaceTiming or whatever, I know I look tired. I know I'm looking exhausted. He'll say, "Babe, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful." And I will say, "Really? I'm tired. Look at me." And then I'll stop and I'm like, "Thank you."
Receive it.
I receive it, right? But that is the first thing I say. I look tired, or no, you see me. And he's like, so I just stop and I receive it. So I am learning. So I had to tell on myself on that one.
Well, good, because you know what? If somebody says you were ugly, you be completely focused on that.
Right.
And that's what we do. We focus on it.
The negative.
I don't know why. As humans, we are naturally drawn to negativity, and that kills a lot of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think on the opposite side of that, too, when we have brothers or even females, females are telling brothers today they look good or they're handsome or whatever. But even when women tell us, not women, when brothers tell us that when we're out or whatever, it doesn't necessarily always mean that they're
trying to
holler at you.
Right.
You know, because I've actually witnessed, like, men get shot down and they literally was just paying a compliment. They wasn't trying to come at them in any way, and they just got trashed, like, right on site, you know? So it's just like, well, I can't even say anything to you because, you know, how are you going to receive it? You thinking I'm coming at you.
And that's sad, too. Like,
You
you
know?
can't even give a person a compliment
Yeah.
without them thinking more than, it's just, hey, you look nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's weird? I think for men, too, if a woman says, oh, he's handsome or those are nice shoes or whatever, I don't automatically think that we about to get busy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why do women always, not always, but why do some women most of the time, you can't even tell them that they pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I got a man. Ain't nobody.
Yeah.
Ma'am, your hair
Yeah.
look nice. That's it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You can't do it.
Yeah.
And then we go from a lack of, there's no chivalry. There's no, because y'all, sometimes women can be very ignorant.
Well, damn.
Sometimes. You know how many times I walk in the Wawa and hold
That's
the door
true.
and they don't say nothing? I'm like,
Like you supposed to do that.
like I'm like the doorman around here.
You
Like
are
I'm-
supposed to open the
I'm
door.
Ralph
What
from
is
the
wrong
Jeffersons.
with you? What is wrong with you?
Got me mixed up.
Exactly. Guys, if you got any comments or questions, please give us a call, 267-908-3166. All right, so where do I leave off at?
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah. Remember to be kind to yourself. That's important. So the next one is engage in healthy habits. So whether you're trying to figure out how to deal with rejection from a family or from coworkers, sometimes it's just everyday things in your home or work life that might influence how you respond to rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you didn't get enough sleep. Now, I know I ain't the best when I didn't get enough sleep.
I don't never get enough sleep. I can't sleep enough.
or haven't been eating well lately. So this is where we hear the hangry. Oh, you hangry? You hungry and
Who made
angry.
that up?
Yeah, you hangry. These things can definitely make it harder to handle rejection in a healthy way. So one thing you can do to cope better is work on leading a healthy lifestyle. So eating well, exercise frequently, staying hydrated, and of course making sure that you get some rest. So I would definitely say the rest is really big for me. So if there's anything that I'm dealing with that I got to take on, it's so important that I have that rest because I do feel emotionally drained, especially as therapists. You know, you have that all day, every
It's giving.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do get to a place where you really feel drained and you need to
Absolutely.
shut down. So
You know what else I think is a healthy habit?
what's that?
To be honest, like being kind to other people too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a form of that's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
To be kind to other people and just look out for other people. I'm
Absolutely.
gonna take you back to back during Christmas, right? I had a moment where we're all at my sister's house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're all like, so every year we kind of do like a little gift exchange, right? So we're all there, and my little brother was there. I didn't know he was gonna be there
Mm-hmm.
because traditionally he has not joined us like around Christmas, like he's been doing his own thing or whatever. So we showed up and we were exchanging gifts, and I was like, dang, like I felt bad that I didn't have anything for him, but I didn't know he was gonna be there either.
Okay.
So I don't know, that wasn't, to me, that didn't make me feel good.
Right.
So I'm actually gonna hook him up. I know we like almost Christmas again. However, but it made me feel bad, that I didn't
Yeah.
do anything for him. Again, I didn't know he was gonna be there or whatever. But that I think just being kind to other people, and I think at this point in our lives, at the ages we are, I think that's what we should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I know I don't have anything left to prove, and I think you kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
I think that at this point, God has put us here to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I want to go out. And I know we do that every day by the kids we work with.
Right.
But I also
right.
think with our friends and family, I think we need to be more proactive and, and just help people. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
So that's a healthy habit.
So let me give you a tip. So next time you be prepared. Just always, whenever you go into somebody's house or
Take an extra
change,
gift.
just always just take a bottle of wine. And
You
can
know what?
It don't have nobody's name on it. You can always just be like, here you go, bro.
Bam.
Always take a bottle of wine.
Shout out to my man Kobe Smith, Phillies in the building. He said, wise words, bro. It takes 2 seconds to be nice to another human being, and it don't cost nothing. He's absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Like, it's easy. The world would be a much better place if we just focused on that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So the last one for rejection is, and this is important, guys, don't let rejection stop you. Don't let it stop you. If there's one important skill to learn from, it is rejection. You can learn from that. You should never let it stop you from any future endeavors. Getting rejected is just, it's a part of life. Every successful person has experienced it at one point in time, so don't let it stop you. I mean, if you get rejected from a date or a relationship, you'll get another date, you'll get another relationship. Same thing when it comes down to a job, you'll get another job. I always tell people, don't walk around thinking that you're not replaceable. Everybody's replaceable.
No matter how great you think you
No
are.
matter how great you think you are. Everybody is replaceable. And it happens to the best of us. So don't let it stop you. Learn from it. The most important thing is to not sit in the rejection, but to say, is there anything I can learn from this experience? And that's something that I've always talked about in regards to just with the rebirth, starting over after a life crisis. No matter what comes your way, no matter what that challenge is, the circumstance, whatever you want to call it, the storm, it is something that you need to learn in the midst of all of that. Absolutely. In that situation. Right? So get your notebook, get your pen, and figure it out. Write it down because you want to be able to not go through that again.
Right.
Usually when we are repeating certain things, it's because we didn't learn the lesson that we were supposed to learn the first time it happened to us, the first time it came around. Right? You knew that this was not hubby type. You knew that, but you still continued. And you still continue to date men that were not hubby type, right? And you're doing the same thing and expecting something different from that.
But don't you have to know that you deserve better before you have to realize that part first before you can understand that I need to change up to get that? Because if you're always meeting the same kind of dude, then it's something that you have to switch up internally. And maybe you need to stop going to these certain places where all of them same dudes hang out at. I mean, if you going to the same club and you meeting the same dude with his pants off his ass and is mistreating you, okay, maybe I'm not saying church is better because, the church boys be the worst sometimes. But my point is just something different. Something different. You can't keep doing the same. Like you say, that's insanity to do the same thing over and over.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to go with the abandonment. Now, the thing with abandonment also has to do with your attachment style. And I'm not going to do no psychology class here tonight. But
Sounds like 101.
There's different attachment styles. There's the anxious attachment style. There's the disorganized attachment style. And you have the avoidant attachment style. So depending on how your life looked like as a child, how you attached to your parents or parent as a child and all of that, could actually have a lot to do with if you have abandonment issues or not.
Absolutely.
So,
you about to talk about that abandonment you've been telling us, you've been teasing us with.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Let me turn the camera to you.
Here we go.
Let's talk about it, sis.
So, first of all, let's talk about where does abandonment stems from. So, abandonment issues stem from a fear of loneliness. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to be by yourself, which can also be a phobia or some type of form of anxiety. So, these issues can affect your relationships and often stem from a childhood loss as well. Other factors that turn loss into abandonment issues include environmental, medical factors, genetics, and also your brain chemistry. So how you grew up as a child, your connection, the bond, why do you even think that they put the baby on the mother when they're born?
To form that connection.
To form that connection, to form that bond, right? So that tells you that we need that. We need that human connection, that touch and all of that. Absolutely. So any experience that is that you experience in your early childhood are big. I mean, it comes into play in developing abandonment issues when you are growing in as an adult. Anything traumatic that may have happened to you as a child, rather it's a loss of a parent or a divorce, even going through a divorce, all of that comes up for you on how that looks like in your relationships and growing up, rather it's physically, emotionally. Emotional abandonment, physical abandonment. What do you think is the worst?
Definitely. I'm gonna say emotional. I think that can be longer lasting. And I think so. I can give you this example. I think that I was raised in a house with four women, my mother and my three sisters, right? And losing my mom, although it wasn't like an abandonment where someone left me, on their own free will. So I think losing that portion of the four women in my life that all gave me something different. I think losing a portion of what she gave me, that initially put me on the hunt to find like women who could replace what she gave me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that we have to be, and when you're young and you're not cognizant of these things, you just know that I have a need, I have a want, and I don't have that anymore. So it's going to be somebody's job to provide me with that. So definitely that emotional. And I guess it goes hand in hand because she physically wasn't there, but the emotional part that I lost when I lost her,
Yeah.
I think it sent me in a spiral for years.
Yeah.
To be complete, and it took me a minute to find my footing. So I'm gonna say the emotional, and they're both tough, but I think for me the emotional was probably harder.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you're right. Emotional abandonment occurs when parents do not let their children express themselves emotionally. They ridicule their children, or they put too much pressure on their children to be perfect. I see that a lot with this generation of kids. Or they treat their children like their peers, right?
Yeah, that's
and
worse.
that's a big one because some of these some of the teenagers will say there's no structure. There's no structure in my home, so I do what I want to do.
Or the worst phrase ever for me to hear is a woman tell a 12-year-old boy, "You're the man of the house."
Oh, that's so much pressure.
I think
that's
that
awful.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So then think about you have adopted that mentality and that title in your home, and now mom has a new boyfriend. What do you think is going to happen when he comes in there to assert himself as a man of the house, and you've been the man of this house from 7 to 13?
Right.
That's a problem.
Right.
So we do have to stop giving our kids these adult responsibilities that we can't even we can barely handle ourselves.
Yep.
So stop doing that. Stop telling your son he's a man of the house.
Yeah.
He's your child.
And it's not fair. It is
It's
so
not fair.
it's not fair. It really isn't, because that is a lot of responsibility to place on a child like that. It really is. So how do you know if you have some signs of abandonment? And sometimes you'll hear the men say, "Oh, you got daddy issues," or you might hear the woman say, "Oh, he got mommy issues."
That's new. I just started hearing that.
And we'll say stuff like that, right? But it's true. Your relationship with your parents really set the tone of how you interact and identify with the opposite sex.
Absolutely.
Right? So you said what came up for me. So for me, I was raised by women, my mother, my grandmother, and my Aunt Betty, very strong females. And my uncles were definitely in my life. I didn't have the relationship with my father as a child that I would have liked to have had. So with that being said, I felt like that for me, there was an issue with abandonment because I didn't have that relationship with my dad. And that followed me as I grew up. It didn't really hit me until I was in my 20s, my early 20s, because I think as a child, my uncles played such a major role in my life that I didn't necessarily miss it. They were just there,
Right.
So
It was normal.
Yeah. So I didn't necessarily miss not having that relationship with my dad. But when I got in my 20s, it was like something hit me. And I hear a lot of people say the opposite. I hear people say, oh, I was waiting for my dad and never came and picked me up, as a child.
Yeah.
Or I was sitting by the window and he never came. Like, no, it wasn't like that with me. I didn't wait or was looking forward to any of that. I didn't even feel like I missed any of that as a child. But when something about me going into my early 20s, something was different during that time. And that's when it really started to affect me. And I think it was because I was looking at some of past failed relationships and how I felt abandoned in those relationships. And I had to think about, well, when was the first time that I had this feeling?
Yeah.
When is the first time did I ever feel abandoned? And why do I feel like I have to give 110% in these relationships just to make sure that person doesn't walk away?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Why do I feel the need to do that, to give everything, to show my hand, to do all of that for people that was not deserving of that?
Right.
So that took a lot of like self-reflection, and I really had to think about when was the first time I felt like that, and it went back to the relationship or the lack of relationship that I had with my father.
Right.
Growing up. So that's where, for me, the abandonment issues came into play. And once I started to notice that there was a pattern there of the type, like you said, of the type of guys that I was seeing or dating, what that looked like, usually picking guys that was emotionally unavailable anyway, right? Which is a big thing that we do, ladies. We want all of this, and we end up picking the guys that are not capable or equipped to give these things to us emotionally, right?
Right.
So being able to just learn from that and then change that, and then also understanding that I was also abandoning myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That probably
right.
was the biggest thing. I'm abandoning myself. I don't want you to leave me or walk away, or you treating me a certain way or emotionally not there. But I'm doing the same thing to myself. So that's why it was so important that when I was married for a very long time, but then when I end up divorcing, for me, it was so important that I spent that time with myself.
Right.
So I could, learn to love me, learn to understand how amazing and valuable I am as a woman.
Talk your talk.
And what I had to offer. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I wasn't going to allow someone to, treat me or make me feel that way, nor was I going to do that to myself.
That takes a certain amount of confidence too, to have that kind of self-awareness to say, you know what, I know what I deserve, and I know what I need to, and like how you took that time for yourself in between when that relationship ended and before you know what I'm saying, before you started to date again. I think what happens with a lot of people, and I'm not going to just say women, I think people are so used to being in relationships, and they just gotta have a relationship.
Right.
When one ends, they into the next one. That's why they don't see that they're grabbing the same type of person, because you haven't had that
Exactly.
time to create that self-awareness or to gain that self-awareness and to understand what you need.
Yeah.
We're always, when you're running from relationship to relationship, at that time you're trying to figure out what that person needs so they don't leave you, and you want to give them all of that.
Right.
And so I think that's part of
Yeah.
it too. You have to have a certain amount of confidence and self-awareness to be like, let me take this break. Let me figure out what's good for me and what works for me.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people, men and women, don't do that. We,
Yeah.
what's the saying? We don't chase them, we replace them.
Right.
And people
right.
just go through life jumping from one relationship to the next one. Or unlike you, I don't know your ins and outs of that old relationship, but people just stay in bad situations just to say that they have a man or a woman.
Yeah, and because they're also afraid of the unknown. People
Absolutely.
stay stuck because the unknown can't be as bad as what you're dealing with right now. That's what I tell people all the time. What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid to move? Because I don't know what's there. Well, you know what's going on here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you unhappy?
And that's not working.
Okay, so then what if the unknown was the best thing you could have met or got into?
Woo.
What if? Right? So, it's so much to cover with this. I know we're running out of time. So some of the common signs of abandonment issues looks like this: giving too much or being overly eager to please. Giving too much or being overly eager to please. Jealousy in your relationships or of others.
Right.
Okay, so that's a big one. If you're constantly jealous or you're jealous of other people, that's a big one. Trouble trusting your partner's intentions. That's a big
That's
one.
major.
Feeling insecure about your relationship. That's right on, right there.
That's everything.
That's the biggest red flag right there. If you're insecure about your relationship, having difficulty in feeling intimate emotionally. I can't connect. I cannot connect emotionally. Why can't you connect emotionally? Why? What's causing it? Dig deeper. Don't just say I can't connect emotionally and then expect your partner to figure that out. That's not he or she's problem. That's
Right.
your problem.
And not their responsibility.
It's not their responsibility.
you work through that.
Right. You
Right.
got to dig deep. Needing to control or be controlled by your partner. So this goes back to the conversation I said before, how I was working with someone years ago, and she got hit in the head with a brick, and she was like that if her boyfriend didn't hit her in her head, then that means he didn't love her. She took that as a sign of being loved or whatever, right?
God bless
But
her.
it's needing to be controlled or needing to feel control or be controlled by your partner.
Wow.
And then the last one is settling in unsatisfactory relationships. Settling.
Yes.
Are you settling? Right?
Did you settle?
Did you fall in love with potential or what you thought was potential? Well, he could be, but that's not what he is right now. Well, she could be that's not what she is right now. Right? So we got to stop doing that.
That hurts. That potential thing will get you every time.
That potential he has the potential to be but what if he don't? What if that potential never comes, it doesn't manifest?
Let me tell you this real quick. I know we short on time. I know I don't know, but I know it through somebody. She wants to date this one particular person because he pays $10,000 in rent a month between his 2 shops that he owns and his house. So somehow she thinks that this is a good situation. If he can afford to do that, then this is a good situation for me. And I'm just like, how asinine. How do you think that's going to benefit you? How do you know he's not struggling paying that? And then this is how lame he is. Why do you know that off the top and y'all not even in the situation?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this is a younger person. She's late 20s, and this person, the guy is in his, like early 30s, like 32, 33. But like that's that part about the potential you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But that doesn't potentially mean you're going to have a good life.
Exactly.
Because of that. He could be struggling handling that.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Oh, he can afford $10,000 a month. But what else is going on?
Yeah.
So anyway, I digress. Go.
No, I mean you're perfectly right.
So stupid.
It's important. What is important to you? When people say I just want to be happy, what does that look like?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? How would you know if you were happy if you were to wake up first thing in the morning? What would be different in your life? And that's a question that you gotta like throw back at people,
right?
Because people would say that I just want to be happy.
And don't even know what that means.
Well, what does peace mean?
Yeah.
What does peace mean? What does it feel like? What does it look like? How would you know if it came across you? How would you know?
Slapped you in your face. Would you know that that's peace?
Right?
Some of us.
So it's the same thing when it comes down to love, right? If you don't have love for yourself, if you can't love yourself, okay, and you don't understand what it feels like, it looks like to love yourself, then how are you going to know when Joe Blow say that I love you and he's in love with you? How are you going to know that his love is sincere?
Right.
How would you even be able to accept it if you have not even done the work yourself?
Wow.
Right? So the important part of this is really doing the work. Long story short, rejection, abandonment, yes, it does come from, a lot of it, 9 times out of 10, comes from something we've experienced in our childhood. And we grow up with it. And, instead of us paying attention to our patterns and understanding that, okay, wait a minute, I'm doing the same thing. I'm running, every area in my life is doing okay except for this part right here. What is it that I'm doing?
Right.
It don't even have to be a relationship. It could be a career. Maybe you hopping in and out of jobs. Every year you got a new job. Why? What's going on? So we got to dig a little bit deeper, and we have to tackle these issues if we want to experience the life that we are supposed to have, that God has
Absolutely.
said that we're supposed to have, then we have to stop brushing over these issues. Get some therapy. Talk to someone. Therapy is will be perfect for exploring what the root cause of your fears are in regards to rejection, in regards into abandonment. I know ladies. I would hear women say all the time, I don't trust other females. I don't have female friends. I don't trust other females. Okay. Why? Or we're just going to leave it that way. I don't trust
Right.
other females. We're just going to leave it that way. No, dig deep. Why? And why does that one experience why does it have to generalize everybody?
Such a blanket thing.
It's such a blanket
But
thing.
you make it a blanket.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
True. All right.
So, wow. Well, that went pretty quick. My goodness. My goodness. Well, hopefully, guys, you got the point of what we were trying to make in regards to rejection and abandonment. But, of course, if you are looking to get into some type of therapy, definitely there's a couple websites that you can go to where you can find a therapist. You have clinicianofcolor.org you can go to, and I would say probably use that website. It's very helpful. And then, of course, you have Psychology Today, Therapy for Black Men, Therapy for Black Girls. It's a few different websites that's out there that you can find a therapist that you can work with to tackle some of these issues. We can't go into 2023 still having this fear of being rejected and having abandonment issues.
You gonna skip this year?
No, that's what I'm saying. We got to get this
Oh, we gonna
together,
get it
in 2022. Yeah.
And then we straight.
Yeah, we
Gotcha.
straight. Absolutely. So you have been listening to The Rebirth on Philly Jamz 95.3. We are here every Monday night at 7 p.m. So make sure you guys tune in. Next Monday is Valentine's.
Woo!
Valentine's Day, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here on Valentine's Day.
We are going to be here on Valentine's. Sorry, Priscilla.
We celebrating early.
We're going to be here on Valentine's Day. We have Jen Fontel is going to be in the building with us.
Jen, applaud,
Yeah,
applaud.
yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have a fun show for you next week. So make sure you tune in. You have been listening to The Rebirth on Philly Jamz 95.3. You guys have a great night. I'll see you next Monday.
Peace.
I believe it in my soul. I've been waiting just for you. You've been waiting just for me. And I don't know another way that I can show you. I'd give up everything to get to know you. Is it us? Is it we? All the things we can be.